I am a bird of the sea, not a dancer on the ice. Who designed these slippery death traps? This is the final result of our latest project, Penguin versus Ice Skates, where we skip the slow build-up and drop the viewer directly into the comedy. To build a sequence that feels this punchy, we have to coordinate three specific technical pillars: audiovisual contrast, extreme high-stakes physics, and a sudden tonal pivot. Before we start animating, we need our raw materials ready: a rigged character model capable of awkward movement, a frozen pond environment, and a set of contrasting audio lines. Producing this effect requires a specific sequence of deliberate animation choices, starting with how we structure the character's voice. We start in the animation workspace, where the first rule is to keep your lip sync and body mechanics workflows entirely separate. This separation allows us to create humor through dissonance. We want to pair a frantically defensive, fast-paced voiceover with physical movements that are incredibly slow and clumsy. Look at the timeline for the character's mouth and head. These keyframes are highly dense, matching the rapid-fire audio. On a second track, we animate legs with sparse, widely spaced keyframes, creating heavy, delayed steps. A common mistake is letting the fast tempo of the audio track trick you into speeding up the body mechanics. You have to maintain that physical lag. The comedic tension comes directly from this conflict between the character's internal panic and his external physical limitations. Once the build-up is established, we move to the climax of the movement, the moment the penguin completely loses his balance. We adopt a specific logic for this fall. Even a minor slip should look as though the impact could instantly reduce the character to antimatter. This requires squash and stretch techniques. As seen here, the model should flatten drastically the moment it hits the frozen surface. We push this far beyond reality, snapping from a flattened state into a highly elongated vertical stretch for a violent rebound. Avoid using realistic falling physics here. Realism tends to drain the energy and punchiness out of slapstick movement. Using physics-breaking distortion gives a simple slip the weight of a major comedic event. Immediately after the violent fall, we reach a critical window where the character has to react to his own embarrassment. To maximize the surprise, we use an instant tonal shift. He abandons his grumpy persona and begins singing a chaotic off-key tune. This change must happen on one specific frame. As soon as impact concludes, the timeline track abruptly changes state. This corresponds to an unblended swap of the facial rig, jumping directly from fury to delightful silliness at that exact marker. Do not use transition frames or easing between these two states. The humor depends on the suddenness of the break. Pivoting the character's emotional baseline so quickly increases the shock value and helps define the chaotic tone of the short. Now we can watch the fully assembled animation sequence to see exactly how these mechanical choices work together. Notice how the contrast between the fast audio and the slow, heavy movement creates that initial sense of clumsy anticipation. The punch comes from that single frame of extreme squash and stretch, followed immediately by the shift in character tone. You can take this formula, the audio-visual contrast, the high-stakes impact, and the sudden pivot, and apply it to any character in your own animation portfolio. Mastering these three deliberate structural extremes allows you to create the dynamic physical comedy seen in professional-grade animation.